through gate and immediate left 6. 6. Oh, shit. Oh.
To another episode of my Off the Track Motorsport podcast. This podcast is proudly supported by both Viking Offshore and Carbon Positive Motorsport. Viking Offshore is a leading global company in the offshore renewable and shipping sector and is proudly committed to giving back. In partnership with Carbon Positive's offsetting initiatives, we all aim to retain our sport and environment for future generations. Please visit carbonpositivemotorsport.com to learn more about how you can be a part of this and help us all be positive about motorsport. This week's podcast has been brought about because the Mull Rally is just on the horizon. It's amazing how quickly it's come along. This week, once again, I've got Richard Crozier, the Mull Rally Clerk of the course. So, Richard, thank you for coming along.
Thanks for having us, Fergus. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's good to get you on, and I think last time a lot of people really appreciated the podcast with yourself. The kind of the reviews and the comments that were made to me was, oh my God, the work scope and the things that we didn't actually know was happening or going on. They found it really, really interesting to find and listen to it from your side of the coin, you know, and really hear about the effort that goes into it and the headache that I suppose comes along with organising a huge event like the Mull Rally.
I had a full head of hair before I started organising rallies, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, we've had the Mull Rally regulations. They've come out just recently on the 17th of this month. And yeah, I suppose that's probably one of your kind of milestones, I would say. Yeah. How has the event organising been for you? And is there any, tell me a bit about the challenges and the difficulties that comes along with it?
Yeah, it's not been too bad this year. Obviously, we've kind of gone a little bit more back to what we had in past years with the route. It was quite a quick turnaround this year to get 23 in the bag and then straight into 24 dev. The first quarter of this year, once we'd kind of done the consultation, and to be fair, actually, the one thing that was surprising back at the start of this year was the consultation was so positive. We've got a few new elements which we can come on to, I'm sure, but yeah, that was all really, really positive. It's quite straightforward. And then kind of it's been a little bit quieter during the rest of quarter one, kind of the first half of the year. I think in the background we've had some staffing changes as well, which are reflected in the regs, but not too much. So I think it's just working through that. You're bringing new people through the organization and trying to kind of equip everybody with the skills and the knowledge and the contacts they need to get things done. Working with stakeholders, we've got consistency with our roads department, which is really positive. But we've got a new police event leads for this year with CI Ryan McMurdo, so that's going to be really interesting as well. But he's got some good experience with Argyll Rally. That's the really positive thing with having two closed road events in Argyll and Butte, is that kind of people gain the experience at twice the rate that they would in other events and kind of areas. So yeah, a few wee challenges and a few wee challenges we've set ourselves just with the route and kind of new things we're trying for this year and trying to get our heads around it. But yeah, we kind of got to the point where we came to Rally Guide 1 just after the Argyll and then our the regs and like you say, before we know it, it'll be regs open and it'll be all hands on deck, and we're really into the kind of detailed planning phase now with kind of 2.5 months to go. It's kind of kicking up a gear now.
What does when you say detailed planning, is that like, I suppose that's how long's a bit of string, an endless amount of little things to plan, but would that be like going around and taking the pictures and getting all the screen grabs for the road books, organising the kind of the little liaison, the distances and all these, well, I suppose the distances everything will be sorted out, but maybe positions of like emergency services and ambulances, recovery and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, we've got an initial stab at that since about April. But it's really working that between myself and event safety officer Neil DeCrow and his deputy Richard Webster, that's that side of things. Also Chief Marshal Tom Wilson just kind of working on our predicted counts. And now that our safety delegate for Motorsport UK is Jonathan Lord, who's the clerk, of course, for the Scottish and the Jim Clark. So obviously now the Scottish is in the bag. He's kind of taking more of an active interest. So we need to kind of generate more content for him. But yeah, as you say, the setup diagrams is the kind of not the bit that the competitors don't particularly see. Although I think as of last year, off the back of what a few other events have done, I've started putting them on the competitors' sport because it's kind of handy on your recce to know like how a chicane is going to look, little things like that.
Yes, that is very
Um,
helpful. I've certainly found that helpful, Richard. Because sometimes you come along in the recce, as you would know, and you're like, okay, there's going to be a left entry chicane here, but exactly how are we going into it and how tight is it going to look? And you're kind of hoping to see the spray paint marks ready for the bales. But I certainly found the diagrams to be very helpful because you can really get a picture in your mind and see. I thought they were really quite good.
Yeah, so all of that side of things, kind of handling me being a teacher to trade, I've got a few weeks kind of over summer to really kind of batter this side of things. So yeah, as you say, the road book's getting the distances, even for the road sections, absolutely spot on. But then yeah, myself and Neil the Crow and everybody just working on the setup diagrams to make sure that everything's absolutely spot on from Motorsport UK's perspective. We've got obviously new additional requirements for this year for Motorsport UK Rally Future stage safety requirements. So just including clarity on the chicanes, particularly during recce.
Okay.
It works a little bit better for us. Sorry, for other events that have like 1 or 2 day recce's, whereas for us having a 3+ week recce periods makes it a little
Yeah.
bit more challenging to make sure that like the signage is all still going to be in place and all those side of things. But yeah, hopefully that'll work out and certainly, on the day, just improving the consistency of the signage of our chicanes, which I'm sure anybody who's been out competing already this year, hopefully, kind of notices a difference, and just all these wee things that will kind of improve the experience for the competitors, really.
And see, you spoke there. Obviously, that's from like future proofing the event and the safety side of it. And we'd kind of spoken before about these things, and like the tire warming sections. We kind of trialed those last year. It wasn't necessarily like a regulation that they had to be there, but obviously we trialed that to future proof the event. How successful was that? I know we spoke briefly about that before, but is that something that we'll see again this year?
No, I think we'll revert back to without them. It's been interesting the 2 or 3 events. I know the Down Rally and Ceredigion also trialed them kind of the year before us. But just in terms of the benefits we see for having them, I don't think we're quite there yet. And particularly for Mull, it's more for a PR reason, is just making sure that any of that sort of activity is off the public highway. But I think Mull being Mull, the PR sensitivities aren't quite as great, so that the need for them isn't quite as strong. But I think you'll still, see sections of, for example, the Glen being the first stage. You don't want to be going into there completely cold, but it's quite a good kind of neutral area because you don't have, residences nearby. So
Yeah.
I think we'll still get an opportunity to get a wee bit of heat into the cars before the start of the first stage and things like that. So there's going to be opportunities, but it's not going to be as explicit in terms of having TWZs. But it's kind of a new thing from the FIA that we thought is going to trickle down. I don't think the sport's quite there yet, but I think certain things like that we'll see in a few years' time. But I don't think we necessarily need to be on the front foot quite as much as we were last year.
Okay. Okay. So lots of lessons learned, but we've made
Yeah.
decisions and do what's required going forward. Last year we started a more traditional starting point for the likes of the Mission Schlag stage and starting from Torbomori side. Now, unfortunately, that meant that we lost, the great spectator area in, Robbie McDougall's field and, on the corner at the crossroads, which was
Yeah.
very favourable for the kids. Without the tyre warming zone, is that, are we going to get these sort of areas back, and will we have, good use out of the big screen again?
It's a shame that it wasn't actually TWZs that had an effect on that. It was more just PR. That field
Okay.
has been sold. I don't know if you noticed. I think they're building houses and whatnot along that. So
That's right.
um,
Yes, yes. I didn't know if that was the whole field though, because I'm
I think
sure it was split in
it's just
two.
the
But
bottom half. But yeah, I think basically the the long and the short of it is that we've lost use of it for the time being anyway, just while all the activity is going on. So we're just grateful to Gareth Reid and all the guys at Cheese Farm for a kind of a backup option that's kind of still accessible, just off the bottom of the Glengorm Road. We did get some use out of the screen there last year, and we're still working on where best to place the screen this year. It's part of our kind of funding application with Event Scotland. But yeah, whether it be the kind of a mix of down in Lecce or in service at Craignewer or in that field at Garth Reed's, then we've got some options. But yeah, it's a shame because Andy Jordan and Scunner really worked hard to kind of build that rally zone side of things in kind of the late 2010s. So hopefully we can get someone back. But I think one thing we're kind of seeing with the route this year is probably spectator wise we'll see a bit more of a focus on Smitty Junction. Hopefully we need to see what we can put in place provisions wise down there. It's not quite as good, space wise as up at the Tobermory end, but there's a few exciting options there in terms of how the route's panning out around there. So I think there'll still be a few good options for spectators across both at Dervig and Tob.
Yeah, the route is certainly very good, and I expressed my kind of excitement in it when we previously spoke about it. How has been the feedback and the kind of hype and the feeling that you're getting from the people that you're speaking to, regarding the route and a more traditional approach to the rally? How has it been?
Yeah, no, I think it's been positive. You never quite know until we're in it during event weekends. There's little things that you maybe didn't think of or downside. But generally, I think as you say, that everything's been pretty positive. I think people, to some degree, over-egg kind of the negatives of last year. I think some of the positives were that we had very little in the way of cancelled stages for people, which was something we really focused on after 22, because a lot of our guys in the second half of the field lost a lot of mileage. So I was pretty pleased with how that worked out, and also I think from a sporting side of things, you've got the likes of Mr. Brown and Ali Curry kind of worked their way through the field after the first leg. So that side of things worked quite well as well. So it's trying to kind of build on some of those aspects, but also recognize that we could have done some things better. So it's kind of trying to meld kind of what we had before with some of the maybe lesser spotted wins of 23, I guess, and trying to kind of stitch together. So. But yeah, like I say, there's a lot of elements that we haven't seen since maybe 2010, 2013. And it's kind of trying to take some, nods from history basically and try to stitch them in. And they're kind of the elements that, and also to use opportunities that have been afforded to us this year. Like the increase in bogey speeds has just helped the whole route flow that a little bit more. We'll hopefully have a few less chicanes, and it just kind of stitching them all together in a melting pot, and hopefully something that will be kind of appealing for everybody.
Was that something? I wasn't actually at the Argyll rally, but was that something that you've noticed differences, kind of across the board in other rallies?
I've noticed it through the year competing, yeah. And Argyll, just credit to Sam Spencer and the team on at Mull Car Club on Argyll this year. There were just a lot of wee format tweaks that I thought worked really well. But also that side of things, taking chicanes out for Argyll worked really well. Lochvine certainly had a lot less. I think Whistlefield had a bit the same. But yeah, it's and Tarzan Dam is kind of another stage that just works much better on 80 mile an hour than 75. We've seen it across a number of events. I think East Riding and the Manx. There's been a lot of events that have just felt quicker with. I think Jim Clark as well. Just felt quicker with having less chicanes. But I think for me, regularly competing in a Rally 3, we often feel outgunned this year.
Okay.
But I think that the good thing with Mull is that there's not, the stages are fast, but they're not, long straights, and there's always something to get stuck into.
Yes.
So I think there'll still be, even though the stages will flow a little bit more and less chicanes, I think there's still going to be opportunities for kind of drivers in smaller cars and up on the wheel to make a difference, which I think is going to be positive.
Good. Good. It certainly will. It will be a good event and some great changes to look forward to. The route is obviously very exciting, and obviously the hype and the momentum I feel is starting to build. It's amazing how quickly it's come around. That's why I really thought I need to speak to Richard and ask some questions and find out about this, because it feels like it was only last week and we were rallying and having a great old time, and now here we are again. It's come around so
hiding for a
fast.
few months.
Yeah.
Now, oh yeah, take it wheeling back out again.
That's it. Here we go. But the obviously the hype is building, and have you got any let's I wouldn't like to use the term big names, but is there been more interest in the event? Have you had any feelers go out? Have we got anyone coming over from Ireland, or is there some more attraction towards the event?
It's always a nervous time right now, like when we've put the regs out, but like almost in a holding pattern until regs go live, because it's like you've spent 9 months effectively curating a product,
Yeah.
and you don't know how well it's going to sell. So until Monday the 5th, at 7:30 comes around and we start to see things trickle in through the system, it's really difficult to tell. But hopefully, yeah, the things are sounding positive. The one thing that we didn't have last year is that the Donegal Harvest, from an Ireland perspective, is on the same weekend, unfortunately.
Okay.
So I'm not quite too sure how that side is going to go in terms of attracting names from over there.
Okay.
But I mean, we've had some developments in the last few weeks. Obviously, unfortunately, we're losing rallies around that time of the year for various factors. We've not, just with the MOD site situation, we've not got the Cheviot this year again, unfortunately. The Chris Kelly and the Isle of Man's not running, and obviously just in the last few days we've lost the Galloway Hills. So it's hard to kind of judge the market at the moment. Whether people that were kind of previously on the fence are now definitely going to be coming to Mull. But yeah, we've kind of heard one or two things from one or two competitors. Certainly, guys that have joined the event in the last year or two are getting the bug. And now I think Roscoe and James Ford.
I was just going to say, Neil, we'll definitely see Neil back.
I should have been chasing these people to repping at the weekend, to be fair, like absolutely on the case. But yeah, no, I think that the sounds are pretty positive. And that's really cool to actually see, as well as kind of all the guys that have been coming for 15, 20 years, that are absolutely staples of this event, is that guys that have come and experienced it for the first time in the last couple are starting to get the bug now, and hopefully they'll kind of be the long termers. So yeah, I'm really hopeful that we'll see a few new faces this year. That always really excites me, but just to see the kind of the trade off between the regulars and the newcomers, and then the headache of where to seed everybody, because you'll always get moans.
Yeah,
that's why the first leg was so short last year, was just to sort yourselves out, lads.
Yeah, you go for it. Yeah, fantastic. And another very good thing is the entry fee being below £1,000. Now, we've seen across the board in rallying and everywhere, cost of living, inflation, everything's going up. I can't imagine the Mull Rally costs have gone down or stayed the same. I'm almost sure that they would have gone up. So how have you managed to achieve such I would say well-priced, it's obviously still expensive, but I would say a well-priced entry fee? How have you managed to do that?
I think it's been, to be honest, most of our cost increases probably came before last year's running. We've had slight increases this year, but it's real testament to the Mull Rally trustees who've taken over. They're kind of a rebranding a little bit of the Guardians of Mull Rally, who've been the custodians of the event since 2010. So we've kind of run through the budget with a fine-tooth comb and just trying to just keep costs down wherever we can, but just be agile and smart with things, really. So no, that was something we were really keen on, was to try and keep it below that £1,000 mark. Obviously looking at the market analysis right now, I mean, even you'd probably think, for what this is, that this event should probably be up around the 1,400 mark realistically. But it's due to the backing of Argyll and Bute Council Events Scotland, and obviously Beatson's Building Supplies, and all of our other subsidiary sponsors that were that makes a massive difference. So yeah, we've had some cost increases this year, but I think it was last year was where we bore the brunt of it.
Mhm.
Obviously, I think if we're up in over 125 whatever entries, then we're in a better place. Running at 117 last year was a little bit more down near the bones. So I
Mhm.
think right now the focus for us is, as much as that was kind of learning last year, was that you can try and be agile and efficient and save costs and whatnot, but ultimately nothing helps your the finances of the event other than a booming entry. So and we've
Mhm.
kind of seen that on other events, is that everybody's been paring back in this cost of living side of things, but sometimes you just have to go hard or go home, and hopefully if we get a decent entry, then that'll kind of allow us to put on a good show.
Yeah, good. And one very interesting thing that a lot of people have mentioned to me was a two-part kind of partial payment scheme or system, whatever you would call it. Is that something that's in other rallies, or is that a new idea, or how have you managed to come to that?
I'm trying to think if other rallies do that. It's not. I mean, I'm quite big on my market analyses and seeing what other people are doing, but it's more just something we thought after last year. When I think our entry fee was around 730-ish for a number of years, and just with the cost increases, it's crept up in the last few years, and we're kind of thinking, that's if somebody's on a wage or whatever, it's quite a lot of money, to stump
Mm,
up a grand.
in one hit.
And one it's a barrier to entry, and we're kind of about reducing barriers to entries wherever we can, and try to. You've got enough challenges trying to get to this event between boats and accommodation and everything else. But we just wanted to try and alleviate that barrier to entry fees wise as much as we could, and it was something we were thinking about and kicking about last year, or after last year. So we kind of came to pen and RG1 on the regs for this year. And says, look, just let's go for it and see what we wanted to.
Mhm.
We checked it with Graham Cowser and Amanda Morrison, from the entries side of things, and obviously it's going to be a little bit more admin for us, to keep chasing folk.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, we felt it was the right thing to do, just to break it into parts. It just seems that little bit more less intimidating, more manageable for people to stump up £500 initially, and
Hmm.
that hopefully will encourage more people to get stuck in. So yeah, we'll need to see how it goes, but we just felt it was kind of about the right time to trial it, and see how it goes this year, I guess.
Yeah, that's good. I hope it's a really positive thing. Certainly from my side of it, I seen that and thought that was a very good idea. And for me personally, it was like, oh, that's good. I can break it. I'm going to end up paying the money anyway, but at least I can break it up over. Is it a month that you get after the first
Yeah,
one?
it's
August the
basically, we
5th.
try to do it so it's like two paydays basically. So you kind of end of July and then end of August. I think I originally had it on the 1st of September, and then somebody pointed out that was a Sunday, which isn't a banking day, so that probably would have given us a few headaches. So, but yeah, it's basically a month separate. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, previously there you mentioned about the Mull Rally Guardians, and now what is termed the. I'm just going to have a look. What we've got, the Mull Rally Trustees. For the
Yep.
people that don't know or haven't heard of that before, can you explain just a bit about what the Guardians are or were, and where they are now, and a bit of the changing of hands, and how that's kind of come about?
Sure, yeah. It kind of all dates back to when the 2300 Club from Lancashire stopped organising the Tour Mull, which was 2009. And the Guardians of Mull Rally came about as kind of local business people and local rally people who wanted the event to continue. It initially started as a kind of a fundraising. I think our bank account is still comes up under Mull Rally fundraising, I think, funnily enough. But that
Right.
was the
Okay.
origins of it. Was just local people just want to make sure that the event continued and was healthy and strong. So they effectively are it's very rare nowadays to have a separate promoter and organizer in rallies in the UK. But they are the promoter. And then back in 2010, they had a discussion about who to be the organising side of things, and Mull Car Club were kind of the obvious choice. So Mull Car Club are the organizer, and bring the technical aspects of it. So over the years, it's kind of evolved, and kind of the original Guardians, the Mull Rally, have kind of come and gone, and a few people have joined and left and so forth. But we got to a point where the original Guardians of Mull Rally, so Donald Brown and a few other guys had kind of wanted to move on,
Hmm.
and yeah, there were a few uh, island folk, island business people who wanted to kind of do their bit and have their say. And obviously, I think particularly since about 2021, there was kind of been a lot of discussions about kind of the format of the event, and people have been having their say. But
Hmm.
this was our opportunity to kind of do so. So we've had a lot of regular competitors. So Norman McPhail, Cameron McLean,
Hmm.
Kenny Wilson, who's a really prolific stage commander and marshal, has moved to the island as well from Dunoon. He's now down at Finnefort. So we've kind of got new energy basically in the guardians slash trustees. Just a little bit of a renaming from them as someone they want to see. So I think that's, as well as the kind of staffing changes, from an organizing side in the background. I think that's probably been one of the big changes for for me and for us in these last few months is kind of been bringing the trustees into the fold, and
Hmm.
up to speed, but and also that enthusiasm that they've got, and wanting to kind of make things better and get stuck into things in all aspects, from business organizing, all of our little wee side projects.
Hmm.
That's starting to kind of bear fruit now. So it's been a lot
Yeah.
this past few months, but no, it's actually been really really exciting this last few months to see all that fresh enthusiasm, island people, island business people, and island ralliers coming on board to try and make this thing better and grow it. So yeah, excited for the future, and obviously I think we'll maybe see that kind of during event week as well. But yeah, obviously just a massive thanks to Donald and everybody who's taken it for 14 years, 13 years
Yeah.
to this
Lots of
point,
years.
and ensured the sustainability of this event. But I think that's kind of, I think when I started in 2021, that was someone who was kind of focused on, was sustainability, was not just the environmental side of things, but financial and people and a whole raft of other aspects to it as well. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing with the trustees now, is kind of focusing on the business and financial kind of viability of the thing, but also from
Hmm.
a community perspective. I think that was kind of one of our big takeaways from the Visit Scotland Awards in December,
Yes.
was that we were up against the golf and the tennis and all of the, which was bizarre, and all of the every uh, winner, whether it be a hotel, a restaurant, wherever it is, you can tell from our external partners and the likes of Event and Visit Scotland that it's all about environmental sustainability firstly, but also community as well.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the opportunities afforded by the Mull Rally trustees and the other stuff we're doing is, I think that's the exciting space to operate in, and the kind of aspect we can do a wee bit better for this year and for future years.
Okay. So kind of like public relations, effectively, kind of.
Yeah, I think we there's elements you're starting to maybe see that through kind of stuff we're doing online,
Hmm.
Mull Help and Info and all other Facebook groups. But I think
Yeah.
there's kind of a desire from us to kind of like just boost our on the ground kind of PR. I think
Yes.
we're going to have a bit more of a presence at Salon and Benesson farming shows over the summer as well.
Good.
So yeah, there's a lot of elements. I think we're starting to see, if you look at what Rally Caribbean's doing with their new Rally Engage program as well, I think that's
Right.
kind of a best practice. So it's just as a hat tip to kind of what others are doing in this space. So I think that's yeah, we kind of want to keep evolving and making sure that we're an island owned event effectively, and
Yeah.
without the community, we're nothing. We don't have a rally. So I think that's something we're kind of building on year, and we
Yeah.
won't be perfect, by any means. But as long as we're kind of heading in the right direction, I think our trajectory, I think we're in a good place.
Good. No, that's all sounding very positive, and things are kind of making a good step forward, and a nice bit of energy behind it as well is always a good thing.
Yeah.
One exciting thing, kind of moving a little bit on, to another person that's put a lot into the local community, that is Tom Nelson and this shakedown stage in Glengorm. Just tell me a little bit about how that's going.
Yeah, good. And just firstly, as you mentioned them there, Tom Nelson and Pam McCall and all the team at Glenmorgan Estate for having the faith and kind of buying into this idea. The for those that don't know, I mean, Glengorm's got a huge rally history. It was used as a selective in the road rally days for years and years. And I think Mickey Donald Brown will tell stories of Malcolm Wilson testing it. Did he crash on it? I don't know, or is it just tested on it? Something like
It
that.
very
Back in
well
the
could
year.
have.
Yeah. But no, it's a cracking bit of roads. It's been a kind of a nucleus for us. Obviously, Shakedown on this event. It's quite new. I mean, it's only 2014, I think, was the first one. We had the Vets Road,
That's
which
right.
is
Yeah. Did we do that 2 years in a row, or
a
did we just
little
do it
bit
the one
too,
year?
but certainly one. Yeah, and then obviously that then evolved into the there and back again solution that we've had at Duart for a number of years, which has been ace. But it was just something we thought we can try and level up a little bit. We the opportunity with Glengorm is kind of for double the mileage per run, so about 3 miles, 2.8, 2.9 miles per run.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the total amount of runs will be similar, but at least you get a bit more mileage. And even just a wee bit of feedback from John McCrory and a few others is that the crown of the road at Duart is a little bit weird, whereas we kind of think that Glengorm might be a little bit more representative of the island roads in general, and there's kind of like a little bit of everything in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully it'll be good. I mean, fundamentally, I think I have a thing I call from all the fundamental questions, and one of those is whether you have a shakedown or not. We've kind of been through that process with the Ulster recently as well, where we've kind of gone away from it. But I think for Mull it is of value, particularly if somebody's coming from single venues or coming from road rallies or wherever, and also the fact that the island roads are that unique setup wise. People maybe only do one event a year, and they're like yourself, they've hired a car. It's invaluable to have that on island seat time. So I think if we've got an opportunity here to kind of make a little bit more of it, then great. We're looking at how we can best kind of stitch in our spectator offering as well, but I think we've got a few options kind of around Ardmore Forest sort of neck of woods to have a bit of a decent spectator area as well. But yeah, just say it's massive. It's still evolving. It'll still talk about that detailed planning thing. We're in the headache side of things is right. We've spent a few months of this will be good, but we're really into the kind of detail of right, how do we make this work for the next 2 months. But all the signs are that it will, and yeah, it's just a massive thing. I'm really excited to start off with something new, right out of the gate on Friday morning.
And whereabouts is it still in the detailed planning to figure out exactly where it would start and where it would finish approximately, or whereabouts is that going to happen?
Fine now. It's basically just beyond non-Ebble, and the Ardmore Forest entrance, and then there's a big set of bins at the far end, the castle end. So that's kind of our stop line. So that's
that is a very good length of stage.
Yeah, let's say 2.9, something like that.
So how many runs? Because generally we've got like maybe 2.5 runs before. We'll kind of come down back, and then we'll rally out at Duart Castle. Do you think it might be something similar again? I suppose the cars will be going that fast that mileage of it's not really going to add on too much time, because
you tend to find this like kind of it comes back to single venue Clerk and almost in terms of right, everybody's clear of that run, right, we can go again. And the calculations, but yeah, no, I think the total amount of runs will be similar-ish, but like I say, it's just you'll get double the mileage. So I think that's something we're conscious of is trying to provide VFM basically for everybody to and seat time.
Yeah, I think it'll be good, and certainly kind of like what you were talking about there. That certainly for Mull, the shakedown has been invaluable. it's really a fantastic idea, and something that, if anyone that I've been speaking to are trying to get them into, or any of the, my Rally Foundation members and all that, I constantly say to them all the time, I was like, the shakedown is just an absolute must do. Now I know it's just cost her that little bit extra money, but as far as my aim for them is to have a safe and as clean a run as possible. The pace that comes after that is up to them, but ultimately to keep them on the road and get them a finish. And the things like the shakedown has done a huge part in keeping the bulk of the pack on the road on the Friday night. I would believe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's there's two real elements to my role. I'm talking a little bit about all the kind of promotory type stuff, but fundamentally, my interest is in a fair sporting event, and a safe sporting event, and making sure everybody goes home at the end. So, yeah, I think that side of things, it does definitely bring benefits on the Friday night, particularly. We had the first leg on Friday daytime, which I was a little bit nervous of last year in terms of how it would go, but it was, especially with Greben and Screeden back to back, but pleasantly surprised it went well. And same again this year. We're kind of, especially in the first two stages, we've got the Glen and Hill Road into Tua. So there's plenty of opportunity for things to go wrong. So hopefully a few people doing shakedown will kind of help alleviate that a little bit.
Yeah, that shock of capture is certainly back.
I think this was kind of one of the things was, how long's the Loch's been the first? I think 2013 was maybe the last time the Glen was the first stage. It's a wee while anyway.
Okay.
So it was kind of just during this initial discussions back in kind of November-ish was, let's go old school and bring
Yeah.
the Glen back. So I mean, it's quite good and it'll be quite flowing and so forth. But yeah, it'll you certainly going to need to be committed, kind of, from the off. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna and obviously just straight into hopefully quite a good atmosphere at Smitty Junction as well. Yeah, there's kind of a lot of exciting points about it.
Yeah, and then obviously towards the end of the night, we're going down to our turn. I'm sure the bottom end of the island will be very much looking forward to that. And also, I was talking to somebody the other day as well, just about the kind of sharing the money that's coming to the island a little bit. About, I'm sure, we go down and you do kind of 4 or 5 passes on a recce run, and then you stop for lunch, or go into the Lazy Cow, or you go here, you go there, and then you go in and then you do another 4 or 5 runs, and then you kind of come up home via Screeden and Greben. It's allowing kind of more money to be spent down the Ross and giving them their share. Because ultimately, I was listening to at the start of what you were saying there, and it is a business, really. Obviously, we love it because we love rallying, but ultimately, you've got huge backing from the council, because and Visit Scotland and things like you're saying, and it's got to be down to the money that this promotion brings to the island. So it's good that that's shared about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even when I was out with my recce's earlier, I think it was the Sunday after our Argyle rally, actually came over just to just to dovetail, and I had my lunch at Benesson Inn and stopped in at Port Nangal, and all these sort of things. I really hope kind of people do,
Yeah,
and make sure you go for a recce of Arton as well. Because I think it was Caroline Will I remember chatting to about this, was they didn't bother, and then they kind of like had a mess up on our ton like a few years ago. She can tell you about that with Brian Watson. So,
yeah,
yeah, do please do go down and have a recce. But yeah, it's awesome. It's been something we've kind of been kicking about going back to our ton for a wee while, and this is the third year of me doing this, and finally persuaded others to give it a go, and I think. Ever since we did it, have been thinking maybe we should have done it kind of straight out of service, as the first of those 3 southern stages, just a little bit
yes,
earlier, because it's going to be quite late. I think it's going to be kind of just nudging midnight when we're passing through there.
uh-huh.
But the flip side is like finishing the leg down there, and Port Nangal have been really receptive and to be in the leg finish, and there's just a lot of, and hopefully being the final stage of the night, it'll have actually even more buzz actually in that aspect. So no, it's really good, and it's quite a challenging stage. Ask Callum Duffy. I think the last time it was running this
Yeah.
direction was the year he was off on it actually. So
That's when he spun and
um,
went into the gate or something, or the cattle
yeah, it's
grid,
still on
wasn't it?
YouTube. Bless him.
Through gate and immediate left 6. 6. Oh, shit. Oh. And he pushed. Yeah. Fuck.
YouTube thankfully, so it's quite a good watch. So yeah, no, it's there's plenty of stories that are that can be told down there for sure, and it's just a cracking stage. You know, it's only 2.7 miles, but there's double run 5.2, but there's
Yeah.
plenty of stories. So just really thankful to everybody at the Ross for the welcome, and hopefully we can kind of build on that kind of in the lead up to the event and on it, and just make this a whole island event, which is kind of something we've been kind of aspiring to for a couple of years now.
Good, yeah. And one thing that we all know and love is the Tunnocks tea cake eating competition. I see that that's still in the regs.
Yeah, actually, just as a bit of an update, I think we might be moving that to Wednesday evening from what Ron Cowan was saying, but he's been an absolute
Okay.
stalwart of the event and that element of the event in particular
Yeah.
for a number of years. So yeah, but yeah, it's still on. I think I've retired after I'm quitting after I left on a high in 2017, I think it was. So it was absolutely heaving last year on the Thursday evening. It was just awesome to see a really good buzz about it.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we live streamed it. I don't know if we live streamed it last year. We did the year
Uh-huh.
before, but it's just a certain dose of madness.
Yeah.
It's uniquely Mull Rally.
Is it in
And
McGawkins that we're going to do it again?
yeah, it's in Providence. Yeah, so I think we'll get a socials post out on it at some point soon. But
Yeah.
Ron Cowan and amongst everything else is beavering away on his grandmaster plans for that. So I think the email address tcake@mullrally.org is still live. So any registrations can go to that. So
Yeah.
it'll be good.
Brilliant. And is there actually any support from Tunnock still for that? Do they provide the biscuits for free? You know, for Stuart Loudon, do you still have a wee deal with him, or is it just for fun?
That's a Ron question. I should get on to Stuart Loudon actually. I've just seen a picture of him out in Portugal sunning himself on a boat actually. So I should get on to him, shouldn't I? I don't know if we're making as good a deal out of that as we possibly could be.
Yeah, I think he's getting some free advertising there. We just want some biscuits, Stuart. Yeah. One thing, just regarding the regulations, a kind of different note here, moving from biscuits very swiftly on, was the tyre allocation.
Yeah.
18 tyres. Is that's something new, isn't it? I don't remember seeing this previously.
Yeah, it's new. It's new for all rallies in the UK this year. So this has been kind of driven from an environmental perspective.
Okay.
So obviously, as well as the fuel side of things, is actually the tire consumption is quite an important thing. So particularly, this has been driven from the forestry side of things. Um, so you'll actually find that on 45-mile forest rallies, you're only allowed 10 tires. But to be honest, I think what most people are finding so far is that the quantities that we're talking, you wouldn't normally exceed anyway.
Yeah.
So I think particularly with Mull being quite low deg roads and the temperatures not being too high,
Hmm.
hopefully people aren't going through tires at a particular rate. It's more just if the weather's constantly chopping and changing.
Yeah.
But we do have, I mean, that you'll notice that in the regs that there's allowances for what's called kind of like a wet rally. And actually, I think it was the Jim Clark Reavers used that provision, so he suspended the tire quantities. Um, but for us, from a kind of an environmental point of view, it'll be good to hopefully if everybody's filling in their tire forms as they should be, to
Hmm.
collect those in with damaged decks at the end of the event. I know previously it's been difficult to quantify the amount of tires people are using, and then to add that into our carbon calculations for the event and the total event sustainable environmental sustainability impact.
Hmm.
So to have that data is gonna be really invaluable, and I know Motorsport UK have been processing it from the events this year. I mean, even back to think my first rally of the year in the UK was Kirkeston back in February, and so I think people have been competing regularly are kind of getting used to it now. But for those that haven't, it's just something to keep on top of. But our CLOs, Amanda, Brian, and Thomas will be there to kind of support people through that process and just keep people right. But we're not looking to catch people out. I think that's the main thing is just trying to get people into the swing of things, particularly for this first year, and that's kind of been driven by Motorsport UK so far.
Okay, so we're not going to be scanning any barcodes or anywhere. It's just like an honesty thing. You just put it down in your declaration, just self-declaration what you've used.
Effectively, yeah. So we've had that
Okay.
conversation with Rob Harris, our chief scrutineer, and yeah, we're not looking to be barcode scanning and things like that. But there might be the occasional spot check, but by and large, it's self-policing at this point. But we'll just need to see how it evolves in coming years. I know Motorsport UK are kind of putting the groundwork in place right now. I mean, I think both of us, having done BRC in the past, will probably be familiar with that kind of barcodey
Yeah.
tire quantity type thing. So it's more just kind of filtering down a little bit more to the rest of the sport, but just making sure that we're being responsible with the tire quantities we're using. But I mean, 18 tires over the whole rally should hopefully be enough for people. So we'll find out.
Yeah, they've definitely. It's eye-watering the amount of money that would cost as well. So
Oh no,
I certainly
Michelin
won't be using
300
18,
nowadays.
or
200 something?
even more. I think you've got to play some games with the VAT, don't you? But yeah, no, it's yeah, they're certainly not cheap. Yeah, I historically I always used the Michelins because I found them extremely strong tire and reliable. And then last year we got a bit of a deal and used the Pirellis, and I noticed that they were very good tire to work with. So, and just slightly cheaper than Michelin. Obviously, it's a high quality Michelin, but the Pirellis were just as good, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, my driver Will, he swore by Michelin's for years, and then we finally prized him away on a Pirelli at some point, and as you say, there's not much difference. I think the other thing, just to keep the other manufacturers in there as well. Obviously, Hankook have got the WRC deal as well for next year as well, so. I think we'll start to see kind of more and more an MRF, and yeah, there's plenty of options out there. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, we've got to be conscious. This is kind of a clubman event, so hopefully we don't get into too much tire wars. But Tony Southshore will give me a clip in the year for advertising the wrong brands, no doubt. But
Yeah. Oh, it's always the way, isn't it? No, so it's just incredible that you can manage to do all this. Like, having talked to you, fairly regularly through the year, just checking in and finding out how things are going and stuff. And obviously the discussion that we've just had, there's so much to it and so busy. And then obviously you're rallying many, many weekends through the year as well. What's like, tell me a bit about like your year and like the EV stuff and, all these different things you've been doing. Give us a bit of an insight about what you do when you're not organising rallies.
yeah, so my two main programs competing wise, I'm a co-driver mostly. I used to drive and then ran out of money. Yeah, this year I've been started off the year competing with Callum Graffin of KG Motorsport. We've been working together for a number of years now, all the way from his first rally when he was 15. We won the last ever, well, as it stands, the last rally at Ingliston in March 22, and then kind of managed him all the way through from just doing Scottish Junior 1000 Cross Series. Did the Irish Junior 1000 Series, which includes Forest events on notes, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
Last year and for Rally 4 this year. So, yeah, kind of managed all the way through his senior gravel debut on 5 Mile Town, single venues, and then closed roads. We did three closed roads in a month in March. Kind of culminating in his first winning his first junior BRC round, and that was the first junior BRC win for me after God knows how many years. So that was quite good. So we had a wee bit of an off on the Severn Valley stages, so they've kind of gone in a different direction now. So we've got Derek McGee and his lad Mark in for the balance of the season, but the trajectory that they're on right now is really good. I saw they had a good result in Tyrone stages, Tyrone at Benone. They're ninth overall and beat the Billy Coleman Award winner Jack Brennan by a minute, which was quite a stunning result, really. So,
That's a
where he's
lot of
just turned
time.
18, and yeah, the trajectory is really good for them. So that's kind of pleasing to see, kind of the part I've played, kind of
Yeah.
carrying on. So, um, that's but at the same time, actually having a little bit more bandwidth has probably not been a bad thing since May, to focus on Mull and a few other things. So, still carrying on with Will in the Rally 3. If you speak to Cammy Fair, I think that's what he's out in this weekend, isn't it? Is in Finland with Max Smart.
That's right,
Is in,
yes.
yeah. So fantastic cars, absolutely fantastic. And
Yeah.
we always say, actually, goes really well on Argyle, but I think it would actually be really good on Mull as well. So he keeps joking
How
to
do you
me.
think it would place on Mull? How, with your experience in them, how do you think they would go?
Depends on the peddler, but I think top 10 for sure. I mean, we saw with Crichton and Finlay Retson when the BRC was here. I think they both got calendar places, maybe top 10.
Hmm.
So if a Rally 4 could do that, I think a Rally 3, particularly if it's wet, should definitely be there or thereabouts. Um, yeah, so Will's been having a stonking year this year. Peredur Davies filled in for me for a few events at the start of the year, and they've had, I think, top 15 on the East Riding and Northwest. And then we've kind of continued to build. We've had top tens again on the Manx and Argyle, which has been fantastic. And yeah, we've got two more to go now. So we've got Ceredigion in a few weeks' time, and which will be awesome to kind of benchmark against the ERC3 guys if there's a few. Hopefully, Tom Woodburn and his driver are over, so we good to get stuck into them.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Hills 4 stages as kind of the climax of our year, just a few weeks before Mull. So we're I think it's official on the enter list, I could probably say it. So we're going to be in a Don Buckley Rally 2 car for that one. So first
Excellent.
time we've been trusted. First time we've been trusted with that for about 3 years, since we made a mess of Jock's car on that event a few years ago. So
Yeah.
just be nice to be kind of back at the sharp end. Will sixth in the championship now in the drivers, so having finished fourth last year. So I think now we're kind of at a sustainable point. Last year with three programs is a bit much for me. So
Uh-huh.
still enjoy my rally and still kind of keeps me current, keeps me sharp.
Yeah.
You mentioned the EV thing as well there, that we've got a fantastic new initiative that's been driven from the SMRC this year, to kind of effectively bring the third international rally to the UK and the first international rally to Scotland since Rally of Scotland in 2011.
Okay.
There's a series called the Bridgestone Bridgestone Eco Rally Cup, which is international regularity road rally series for electric vehicles.
Okay.
So it's been going for a few years now, and Alan McNish, who's on the kind of commission for that and Formula E, kind of said, "Look, Scotland would be great for this. Let's do this." So this is going to be year two of it, of a 3-year program to try and bring that to the UK. We've put our bid in for next year, for summer next year.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's kind of been a whirlwind these last 3 months, for me to try and bring a bit of expertise to it. But yeah, Andy Jardin's come on board. It's Inverness based, so it's absolutely perfect to have a man of his experience. And
Uh-huh.
it's kind of a bit of a throwback to Mull 21 when Andy was Clerk and I was deputy, for us to be kind of working alongside each other. But
Yeah.
hopefully that goes well. It's only a few weeks, 22nd, 23rd of August. So 420 miles, kind of north of Inverness, around the North Coast 500s. So yeah, if you know of anybody that's got an EV road car, I was getting onto Cammy to try and see if Max Smart would do it, because Aberlour is not that far from it.
Yeah, it's very close. Yeah.
You need to get on to Brian Cameron and everybody else and say that it'd be fab for them. So, but yeah, honestly, I think if we can get a good fleet of EVs out there, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it'll be something fantastic for the sport, I think, in
Yeah.
Scotland, just to be something a little bit different and kind of futuristic. And I
Yeah.
went up to Iceland and did one up in June, and it's just fab. It's just, yeah, it's something a bit different.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I'm really looking forward. It's going to keep us occupied in the run up to Mull anyway. It's be glad once it's out of the way and can focus full tilt on Mull in October, though, to be fair.
And what's the general types of EV cars then? What's kind of the go-to? Surely everyone's not rallying in Teslas.
There's Teslas. Yeah. I'll need to give you the list, but no,
Yeah.
we were in a BMW, a VW ID3, Hyundai Konas. Oh, what else have we got? Kia e-Niros, ID5s. Yeah, there's loads. We actually had. You heard of a guy called Gunnar Johansson, I think it was. Used to do a bit of BRC, Icelandic guy.
No, no.
No, he's done a wee bit over here. He's the Icelandic champion, and he borrowed a Tesla and did the Iceland round last
Cool.
month. Yeah, no, we've got classes for kind of all comers. You know, for our event, we've also got classes for hybrids as well.
Yeah.
So I'm jokingly saying I've got two hybrid Yaris's, and my higher rates are reasonable if anybody wants to have a go.
Well, you never know. I might take you up on that.
Good, yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
it's
good.
keeping us busy.
Yeah. Well, that is fantastic. And yeah, the Mull Rally is just round the corner. The 5th of August, very soon coming up. You know, everyone get your entries in. And the burden has been shared, so it's only half the entry to pay on the 5th of August. And then half, you've got a full month to pay it thereafter. So kind of spreads the pain out a little bit. And certainly just get in and kind of let's get into it. It's only round the corner, not long away now. Excellent. Okay, well, Richard, thank you very much for coming on. I've really appreciated that chat with you. And yeah, we'll look forward to the Mull Rally very soon.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Fergus. Cheers.
That's great. Cheers then.